In the headlines, fire outbreak kills 3 in Kano, destroys Open University office in Jigawa State. Famfare as 12 Emir of Katagum receives staff of office. Wheat farmers in Jigawa set to begin planting amidst scarcity of seeds and fertilizer. On the foreign scene, Chad arrests 620 people following October 20 protest. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining once again. Kano State Fire Service has confirmed the death of 3 persons following an early morning inferno in Badume Market in Bichi, local government area of the state on Friday. Samino Abdullahi, the public relations officer of the service, said this in a statement in Kano. Abdullahi stated that 100 contemporary shops were also consumed by the inferno. He said that the service received an emergency call from Bichi Fire Station at about 3:30 a.m. and immediately sent a rescue team to the scene to stop the fire from spreading to other shops. 3 unconscious bodies evacuated were later confirmed dead and the corpses handed over to Bichi Police Division. Abdullahi added that the service has already initiated an investigation into the causes of the inferno. He advised the general public to switch off all electrical appliances, disconnect from source when not in use, and handle fire with care. Fire has gutted Administration Department of National Open University of Nigeria, now at Federal Secretariat, Dutse, Jigawa State. The fire had destroyed all the office equipment and materials on the floor of Noun University, and firemen from the state's fire service were mobilized to the scene, but due to lack of firefighting equipment, the fire could not be put out. After about 30 minutes, personnel of the Federal Fire Service as well as the same International Fire Service joined the firemen to put out the fire that was still raging at the 3rd floor of the building of Noun Administration Office and Library, completely burnt by the fire. An independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Saturday in Kaduna State displays of voters registered for the 2023 general election. At Tudunwada and Doka in Kaduna North and Kaduna South local government area of Kaduna State, few prospective voters were seen checking their names in the register. The report.
With the commencement of voters register display in Kaduna, names were pasted at different wards and polling centers. Many people are, however, not aware of the display as few came out to check names. INEC made an announcement on the exercise and names were being pasted at different places in our ward, but few people came out to check their names. INEC official at Tudunwada, Kaduna explained more on the exercise.
Today is our first day here. People have started coming out. It's encouraging. Well, people are coming here with the hope of collecting their permanent voters card, not knowing we are here to display the registers for people to come and view in case of any mistake or any correction or any omission of the cards. So that's the essence of the voters display.
The exercise will last for weeks to avail people the opportunity to raise observations or claims before new permanent voter cards could be distributed. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections in Rivers State, the State Commissioner of Police Effiong Okon has warned against any form of violence in the state. Such violence, he said, include both not restricted to disruption of political rallies, destruction of billboards, as well as other politics-related crimes in the build-up to the 2023 general election. CP Okon made the warning during a meeting with political parties and their candidates at the officers' mess in Port Harcourt. The report.
Addressing representatives of the political parties and their candidates during a stakeholders meeting in Port Harcourt, CP Okon urged politicians to advise their supporters not to indulge in any form of violence, as anyone caught would be dealt with in accordance with the law. The Rivers Police Boss assured that the police will be neutral in the discharge of their duty before, during and after the election.
We cannot have a very successful and peaceful election if the campaigns are not devoid of violence. Let me say most emphatically that we will not condone any situation where political campaigns will be disrupted.
Some of the political stakeholders at the forum called for a level playing field that will ensure that the outcome of the elections reflect the will of the people. They also sought clarification on the position of the police with regards to the Executive Order 21 of the state government. Responding, CP Okon advised political parties who have issues with the order to approach the court for redress.
What is the position of the police force on Executive Order 20? I think at the end of the day, it's designed to stop us from campaigning, and it's designed to stop us from having access to people.
But I believe that we need to work together as a group. The Interparty Advisory Council with security agencies need to sit together and discuss. And then finally from me, sir.
They said, okay, you better enter house soon. I said, why will I enter house? I have to come out and liberate my people. Then the guy drove off. I don't know him. So I want to know how safety are we?
We noticed that one of the billboards belonging to my party, the National Rescue Movement, at Mpogo roundabout had been defaced very carefully. You know, they did it very carefully. They were in a hurry. The pictures are there. In fact, it's still standing till now.
In every democratic environment, there is separation of powers and checks and balances. And that is why sometimes people have to approach the court to challenge a particular order.
High point of the meeting was the signing of peace accord by candidates of political parties.
And away from the 2023 elections, the Emir of Katagum, Umar Farouk II, has identified security and welfare of his people as his priority areas during his reign. He has also called for prayer as the country goes into another set of elections to ensure a peaceful and acceptable exercise. Farouk II stated this after receiving his staff of office from the state governor in Bauchi. Trust TV's Adamu Imam was there and now reports.
The ancient city of Azare in Katagum local government area of Bauchi state was agog as people from all walks of life gathered to witness the presentation of staff of office and oath of allegiance by the state chief judge, Justice Rabi Umar, to the 12th Emir of Katagum, Umar Farouk II. The Emir promised to be just and fair in his leadership.
We are all grateful to your esteemed presence. I was appointed Emir of Katagum on 30th December 2017. Soon after that, we set up our development agenda, highlighting our priorities. These include security and the well-being of our people, education, health, job creation, poverty alleviation, and the most important, 100% support to your government.
The state governor, Bala Mohammed, maintained that traditional institutions has a major role to play in securing the country, hence the need for it to be an agent.
Our traditional rulers should activate the traditional security system whereby strangers or suspicious movements are reported to them, and they would in turn conduct investigation to ascertain the motive of the strangers or suspicious movement so that security could be nipped in the bud.
More than 60 traditional rulers and dignitaries, including Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, as well as presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, were in attendance. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
As farmers across Jigawa State prepare for this wheat farming season, the effect of flood, high cost of fuel and inadequate seeds may likely affect wheat processors across many parts of the state. In this report, Trust TV's Northwest correspondent Idris Jibrin visited some wheat farming communities in Jigawa as farmers prepare for cultivation to recover the loss occasioned by the recent flood disaster. The report.
Wheat farming season is here again. Mustafa Usaini and many other farmers have been looking forward to this moment. But this year, the wheat farming harvest has been poor, and most farmers hope to recover their loss from wheat.
Actually, I want to plant wheat here. Last year I did it and I enjoyed it. So this year I want to do it too. But we need government to help us with seed and also fertilizer.
Abdullahi Wami in Varanda village of Jigawa State is harvesting his rice to prepare for wheat cultivation. He says the flood disaster this year has significantly affected his output and that the wheat farming may also be threatened by a number of challenges.
This year the flood disaster has destroyed most of our farm produce. So I'm clearing my farm so that I can plant wheat. But then there is challenges of planting a wheat. We need enough water, we need seed, we need fertilizer.
But according to the Wheat Farmers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria in Jigawa, federal government is expected to provide seed and other inputs that will assist wheat farmers across the state.
Most of our farmers, because they have experienced these floodings this year, lands have been so much inundated by flood. And to make the land prepared, it takes more time because it's still very wet. Most of the suitable areas have been consumed by the flood, and we have to allow the water to recede and then start preparation. The preparation actually is to clear the rubbish of the previous crop produced, and then maybe start tilting the soil. And as you can see from here, most of the land are almost ready for wheat farming, but the remnants of the crops are still being harvested. Farmers are trying to clear the land, took away most of the crops produced, and then start tilting.
With the significant loss incurred by farmers owing to the flood disaster this year, these people are hoping that wheat farming season will help them recover, but certainly not a solution to the much anticipated food crisis across the country. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Jigawa.
Delta State government says it has recorded 22 new deaths at the various internally displaced persons camps in the state. Secretary to the state government and chairman of the Inter-Ministerial Flood Management Committee, Patrick Uka, who disclosed this in Asaba, said the death rates were low compared to previous years. The report.
Following the level of devastation that came in the aftermath of this year's flood, the Delta State government says it is grateful that its effect has not led to the loss of many lives. According to him, this year's flood is far more than what was experienced in 2021, but the proactiveness of the state government and God's intervention helped in managing the after effects. He revealed that although the state is still compiling records of the death in Pantani, where some travelers lost their lives while traveling towards the Port Harcourt-Bayelsa Road, 4 deaths were recorded in Isoko and 1 in Ubolu.
Delivery of about 22 babies in the different camps. Yes, we recorded some deaths. We're still compiling, but no death in the camp. We only recorded 1 death on a camp, and that has nothing to do with the flood. It was basically the personal event that the person has had before now. But in Patani, there are some travelers who were going through Patani, and I think about 10 of them lost their lives. the moving towards the Port Harcourt Bayelsa end. Then about 6 indigents were lost in that area. In Isoko, we recorded about 4, and 1 in Ubolu.
He also commended the private sector response to the flood disaster and called for the dredging of the Niger and Benue rivers as a precaution to NIMET's flood projection that 2023 would be more devastating.
But we thank God the response of a lot of private sector individuals and corporate organizations equally came to the aid of the state. I think that we should look at more on how we can stop this flooding, which of course everybody knows that dredging the river Niger and building another dam first is going to be one of the measures that can solve it.
Ukwa is hopeful that with proper preparations, the impact of floods would be minimized.
You're still watching Trust TV News updates. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how historical sites attract visitors to Sokoto State. Details of this report and more. To stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news updates on Trust Television. A recap of our top stories. We told you earlier the fire outbreak kills 3 in Kano, destroys National Open University office in Jigawa State. And the Film Ferry as a 12th Emir of Katagum receives a staff of office. And moving on to other stories, Nollywood film producers and actors have been cautioned against the discretion of the hijab and niqab worn by Muslim women. A Muslim group, Ta'awun Human Rights Initiative, voted a Nollywood movie titled Oshwami for depicting Muslim women in a bad light. The Director General of the group, Suleiman Tadesse, frowned at the National Film and Video Censors Board for allowing the movie to go into circulation. In the movie, popular Nollywood actress Kemi Afolabi plays an androgynous woman, Muslim woman rather, despite wearing the veil. Suleiman said the manner for the movie, which portrays the evil, which is part of dressing of Muslim women, as shown in the movie, was very disturbing and unacceptable. The group called on the Theatre Arts and Motion Pictures Practitioners Association of Nigeria to compel the producers of the movie to remove it from all viewing platforms and apologize to Muslims for the embarrassment. Hubari, where the legendary Sheikh Usman bin Danfodio was buried, is one of the historical sites in Sokoto State. It was originally the residence of late Damfodio, which his son, Sultan Muhammad Bello, built for him after the jihad. The remains of the renowned Islamic scholar and some members of his immediate family were later rest in the historical place. Hobbare now attracts Fulani pilgrims from far and near who made it tradition to visit the place in a lifetime. In this report, Yushau Adamu finds out why Fulani visit this historical place. Take a look.
Over 200 years after the demise of late Shehu Usman Damfodio, Hobbare remains a busy place as hundreds of Fulani from the nooks and crannies of Nigeria and beyond troop to this historic site to visit the tomb of the renowned Islamic scholar. Fulani are coming to this place every day, but they mostly come during Eid al-Kabir, Eid al-Fitr and Maulud festivities. While regular visitors are allowed to visit the tomb and other historic sites on their own, first-timers are being conducted round the places by the custodians of the house. However, only male visitors are allowed to enter the room where the tomb of the famous Islamic scholar is located. This is my 12th trip to this place. This is my 5th year, and there is a year I visited this place 4 times. This kind of visit is sunnah as said by the Holy Prophet, and because Shehu Usmanu is among the respected Muslim clerics, Fulani visit his tomb. Visitors are expected to perform supplications for the late Islamic reformer and the rest of Muslim Ummah. To some Fulani, a visit to Hobbare is as important as pilgrimage. From Sokoto, Yushau Adamu, Trust TV News.
Kogi State's government says it is set to expand business relations with the Chinese government as the state aims to achieve 591 billion naira annual internally generated revenue. Governor Yahya Bello made this known at a dialogue meeting on industry and trade with Chinese entrepreneurs at the Chinese embassy in Abuja. Addressing the entrepreneurs, Bello said the government of Kogi State was ready to engage the Chinese business community to expand business and investment opportunities with China. Bello, who also said that there was the political will to attain the desired collaboration, pointed out that he shared a lot of ideology with the people of China, politically and personally. The Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Ku Chen-chu, who recalled his recent visit to Kogi State, expressed confidence that with the cooperation between the leadership of Bello in Kogi State and the government of China in the coming years, a lot would be achieved, particularly in power plants and nuclear energy.
I have that political will to continue to engage China and Chinese to ensure that all the benefits that are available for us, we take the full benefit of it for our people. There are several areas we can engage ourselves. They're all available. We have the institutional framework ready to engage, and we have the authority to engage and get things done as quickly as possible.
I have traveled to more than 12 states in Nigeria, and Kogi State is very special to me because Kogi State is one of the places to build a nuclear power plant. We are lacking power, so also we lack a lot of infrastructure there. And I had the opportunity to talk to the governor that how can we do things together, because Kogi State is very special. So I think that if China, Nigeria, if we work together, we can improve not only the material condition, it's very, very important to build our strengths to develop this country.
And away from Nigeria, the government of Chad has arrested 620 people involving 83 preteens since the violently repressed protests that left over 50 people dead on October 20. This is the first time that the authorities have publicly admitted the figure of more than 600 arrests mentioned by several local and international NGOs after these demonstrations against the extension of 2 years in power of General Muhammad Idris Deby. Several local and international NGOs have been saying for 3 weeks that hundreds of people were killed in several towns on the day of the demonstration and then afterward in extrajudicial executions. However, the government has so far only acknowledged 50 deaths by bullets and more than 300 injured on October 20 alone, including 10 killed among forces of order. Since the events of 20th of October, 621 people have been arrested by the security forces and transferred to the high security prison of Korotoro in the middle of the desert, and 401 people have been referred to a court under the procedure of flagrant delicto. And fighting between the M23 rebel group and the Congolese army intensified in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The clashes had subsided for about a week since the M23's latest onslaught in late October. The rebel group had had a major resurgence this year, forcing tens of thousands of people to flee their homes after its first big insurrection a decade ago. The resumption of the fight had caused a diplomatic crack between Congo and neighboring Rwanda, which Congo accuses of funding the M23. Clashes were reported on several fronts in Rutshuru territory in East Congo's North Kivu province. Some of the fighting was in Virunga National Park near the towns of Kiwanja and Rutshuru. One of the leaders of the M23, Bertrand Bisimwa, said on Twitter the fighting had resumed and accused the Congress army of working with another rebel group. And in sports, Alex Pereira defeated Israel Adesanya in stunning fashion on Saturday night, winning by technical knockout by punches in the fifth and final round to claim the middleweight belt at UFC 281 in New York. All three judges had the bouts going to Adesanya 39-37, heading into the final round. Pereira claims the belt from Adesanya, who has been a dominant middleweight champion since winning the title in 2019. Adesanya successfully defended his title on the occasions. Adesanya has only lost one time in a light heavyweight bout against Jan Blachowicz in 2021. Pereira now has 6 victories in 7 MMA wins, all 6 coming by knockout. And that brings us to the end of news updates at this hour. You can follow us across all our social media platforms for more. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching and please stay tuned.